How's everybody doing? I hope you've speaking with it last night, because you just don't feel alive if you don't do this in a while, right? And I'm speaking from a place of becoming non-invested, right? So I had a discussion about the whole anti-Semitism thing. A, to reinforce freedom of speech. B, to remind people to be neutral about this crap, because everybody gets it, that it's far too nuanced, right? To be honest with you, the average person does look at the Middle East situation, they say it's fucking nuanced as fuck, right? You know, and then they don't know how to deal with the problem because they don't know how to deal with being called an anti-Semite in the process of trying to solve the problem. And that's where the animosity domestically, because the left took a lot of care, like the left became very interested in studying what's up with the Middle East because we're at war with it. We want to bring about a peace. There's an assumption that we all want peace. So it's just like, okay, let's figure out this whole thing going on over here in Iraq. Let's figure out this whole thing going on over here in Israel. And this generation is learning a whole lot about geopolitics based on its emotional investments. And it's perfectly fine to be emotionally invested in something. But not just anything, folks, right? And obviously you don't want to be emotionally invested in the same thing that other people are emotionally invested in that are facilitating the problem. But of course, you may not know where that's all at. And so with this problem, you just end up lashing out at everybody and everything, right? This is what happens when your world falls apart and you don't know who's good or evil anymore. And then all of a sudden, you're barking about something and people are telling you to shut up that you thought were on your side because you didn't realize that there's a more legitimate movement of people for one thing or the other, right? And so we're getting this bare bones sense of what the American radical identity is, right? And it's really, really hard to say if people are right about the fact that the right is not going to win anymore or something like that. I don't know. But that's fine by me at this point. I have moved on from my ideas of tomorrow that way. Because I don't care how angry one person on the internet may or may not be about where my disposition lies. It's like, what, you're angry that I'm not with you anymore? When the fuck were you with me? When the fuck were you completely invested in what I was fucking doing? No, you weren't. You were feigning it because you were waiting for me to get invested in you, and I thought that this was something different. So, I'm talking about soft power, right? This is all an excellent segue into soft power because I'm kind of explaining it mechanically to you, right? This is it's a psychological pressure force that is cultivated in childhood development. Let's face it, one of the biggest core issues that we have, especially if we're pagan, and we look back at how we were raised because of why we weren't raised pagan, and everything that comes along with the world that is kind of anti-pagan is they put the child into adult structure systems too soon. Even in places that are extending your childhood maturity, right? You know, these people that are, that are man children, these people that are emotionally immature in general, are reading at a 7th grade level, etc., etc. These guys, you took these children and you put the stern rod of Saturn. You gave them to like the level 3 sensei when they needed a level 1 sensei, and they're getting their ass kicked trying to live by level 3 sensei's rules. When the child is a level 1 because he's initiate, he's a neophyte, the kid needs to be mostly fucking fluid, a little bit of structure. And you've got to put the right structures in place over time. Now, there's a lot of fucking people that are actually doing this right that aren't heathen at all, right? But the generality of the world, whether this was before or after a Department of Education, was like this. And it's mostly women that are the supervisors and teachers, leading faculty, etc., etc., right? And these women are doing it the way that they want to fucking do it, as they have since always, really. Women's suffrage is kind of a joke because, you know, plenty of men in the world that have a particular interest in serving a woman, making her happy, those standards, etc. And the women's attitudes about things holds bullshit together. You know, they hold Christendom together. So you can blame the women. Patriarchy doesn't want that. Patriarchy doesn't want Jehovah, really. They're doing it because that's the spirit of respect in the community, being held by the women, making space for that. That's how that works. That's soft power. Soft power, it's like it's yin energy. It's the yin energy of a control system. Right? When you're introducing your control system to something, you're using your yang energy to penetrate. And then once established, you bring in the yin energy to contain it. Hard power, soft power. And so, that's why America keeps losing its fucking wars. Right? It's always, America's lost most. Look at our history. Like, that's not a Mandela effect. We have literally lost all those wars that you see that we actually lost. You know, we lost all of our Middle East wars. We didn't win World War I. We came in towards the end. And, you know, we became the tipping point. We weren't involved in half that fucking war. We didn't even jump on World War II. And that victory really belongs to the fucking Soviets. Ultimately. We would not have won the Civil War if we didn't sacrifice thousands of fucking Irish immigrants. How much do you have to fucking hate Ireland at that time to fucking want to die for America? And so you fought for the Union, which may have been an actual mistake, but that was your only ticket in because the embargo was successful. Yeah, we've lost way more than we've won. We've been pretending like we're always these fucking winners. We were part of a team in World War I and World War II. We were part of a team, and we were the trump card that got involved and interfered a little bit later, right? And we let fucking Europe do all the bleeding first, and then we came in. Then we came in when we were good and ready to fucking come in both mind and supply. And that's partially to do with our democratic process being what it is. The spirit of agreement. As such. And we've gotten more and more efficient at soft power, and soft power that is promulgated with dark care, like we saw in 2020. It's this ugly force that if you don't understand how your yin and your yang flow, because you're out of sorts with your gender, you don't know how to stand against this. And society wants you to downplay how much you even need to bother thinking about it in that particular way. We unfortunately have to live in a world where it gets way too ugly if you silence all the liars. And because we have to have a fair playing field, you have to silence none of the liars as far as using power is concerned. Hey, Grand Rising, Nick. As far as all that power is concerned. So, you need to know when you have to be penetrating, and you need to know when you have to be containing. And you need to know that you are most likely going to be most effective as a man via disposition of penetration. But you still have to know how to work within the containment. And then, of course, it's the vice versa for the woman. The woman knows that her power comes from her containment, but she has to be able to adapt to the man in penetration, to when the yang is introduced into her yin. All this is very, very simple. I didn't have to go fucking climb a mountain in China to figure it out. And books were merely primers to Gnosis, because I took what the books told me and I worked internally and explored and dived into things within myself that no book could ever extract out of me. And then I come to a point where I talk like this, and that is like a gift distributed unto you, and you're welcome, right? And that's the game. So anyway. So things like 2020 are this big example of soft power. And people don't understand until you really get into deep, open, personal psychology about matters, is that that little issue that comes with people trying to be like non-binary, for instance, right? You got your chromosomes, and you've got your physiology dictated by your chromosomes, and then all of that is an expression of the energy field of who you are, at least in this incarnation. I am not ruling out that there may be such a thing as a reincarnation into another gender, because I think that I was a woman in a past life, at least one, not too many, but one I think I felt. But anyway. My point is that a man's world, that yang energy that comes from what happens with us XY type of people, is that we're really into like doing a thing, right? And we're much more interested in developmental, like, it's the way I'm trying to say it. This is more of a poor choice of words thing than, because I'm trying to take something that's like an obvious knowing kind of thing. I'm trying to like bring it forward. This is not like some misguided philosophy kind of situation, right? Because I mean, it is, because I am just essentially kind of talking about the yin and the yang, right? The containment versus the penetrating, but it's A, repetitive, B, not very explanatory to say just like the man has this penetrating world and the woman has this containing world. I'm trying to elaborate on those things. But it's like having a tower, right? You've got a tower, like an obelisk, an antenna tower, etc., right? You've got a tower, and the symbolism of the phallus in ways that are beyond sexual, right? And so you've got that tower, and then you've got the world around it. When the tower has its particular attunation, right? Its attunement. And that's along the lines of, okay, you've got your main skyscraper in a city, that's the masculine thing. And then the whole city, how it reacts and adapts to the energy of that tower. You know, the personality of New York before 9/11, after 9/11, and then after World Trade Center 1 was built. You see. Dome is the female, tower is male. That makes sense. I think I see what you're saying. But anyway, I'm going to get to work. I'll catch you guys later.